Insurance Business recently presented IBFutureFest, the world's largest insurance festival. A host of industry experts were on site, and we caught up with them to ask, what is the next big innovation in insurance?
Solving for climate change is the next big innovation. Actually being able to anticipate from a resiliency perspective how we can respond better. You know, we just had the tragedy in Texas with the flooding, and we lost lives. And then we just had flooding, I believe, in New Mexico. And there's not enough proactivity from the insurance industry around how we can better prepare and anticipate, and also partnership with public-private entities like counties and cities and states and the federal government so that we respond in a way that's connected and everyone's well-informed. And then also educating the communities where people live. So the next big innovation really is collaboration and community.
Well, we're in the middle of it, right? Artificial intelligence is part of a broader innovation of automation. And so that's why I say like AI is a tool. It's not the only tool. It's not the multi-tool. There's a lot of problems we can solve in insurance with other tools other than AI. But I would say that automation in general is a big winner in insurance because it allows us as an industry to focus on people. Remember, people buy insurance, whether they work for a company or they're buying for themselves. And they like to, in general, talk to other people and be consulted on the risk. If you look at like the role of a broker or the role of a business developer in a carrier or the role of a business developer at a TPA, all of them really should be risk consultants if they have the time and if they're not doing the boring menial manual stuff. And so I think that's really the next big innovation is automation technology that allows us to, because remember, this is an industry of paper, right? I mean, insurance policies are contracts. The industry is run by lawyers. There's a lot of documents. There's a lot of paper. There's a lot of pushing and pulling data around in Excel spreadsheets. And so I think the real big innovation we're right in the middle of, and that's how do we take all this stuff and have machines do the part that we don't like doing so we can get back to the basics of human-to-human interaction and serving as risk consultants. A great broker is a great risk consultant. A great carrier is a great risk consultant. If you actually help people, reduce and mitigate risk, you're doing your job. But you only do that if you have the headspace and the time to do it, which is why I think what artificial intelligence is doing with document summaries, just document summaries. Your average claims adjuster on anyone who deals with any kind of medical health records on claims. So whether it's a work comp claim or there's a bodily injury claim, they have to manually summarize hundreds of pages of medical records into their notes on their claim file. That process, if you eliminate that and let AI do the summary, that can save hundreds of hours a day across an entire organization and allow them to spend more time on the phone talking to claimants. That benefits everybody. So I think that's why we're in the middle of the next big innovation, is leveraging automation technology and really leveraging the really simple stuff that AI can do. We don't need AI to be the broker. We don't need AI to be the business developer. If they can just summarize documents for us, we're winning big time. But you'd be surprised how many companies still have not adopted this, even though the adoption time is weeks, not months.
So I think most people at the conference will probably have said AI, and I absolutely agree with that. You can't ignore AI being a really big part of this market going forward.
Yeah, it's things are happening fast and furious on the artificial intelligence side. I think one thing I just spoke about in the panel I was on was how AI is being used in not just assessing climate risk and using all the data that's available, the big data and the big compute resources that are required to do something with that, but also using it in our tools and our models. Like spatial intelligence is coming a long way, so using that to get out to loss-affected areas earlier, to communicate with our policyholders in a quicker way, to identify risk issues, before the loss even happens. Identifying issues with roofs, for instance. These models take a long time to kind of train, and it takes a lot of underwriter input to make sure that these models are operating effectively, both pre-loss and post-loss. But it's getting pretty cool and interesting out there.
The next big innovation in insurance is AI agents that are going to allow us to perform numerous tasks, such as creating policy forms, reviewing compliance documents. All of these AI agents coming together, creating a hub, an AI-led hub that gives us the ability to have really smart starting points, frees up time for all of the insurance professionals to focus more on more important things, innovation, cutting-edge development of tools and technologies, rather than more of the mundane tasks that we are all getting tied down with right now.
Oh man, everything is AI related right now. And that's the big buzz. That's everything talking about. So it's just a matter of figuring out the race of who's going to figure out first, like the best way of using it and how to do it. And so I think that, once those people figure that out, and there's so many different use cases for AI or generative AI or whatever it might be, I think that's going to be the next phase of that. And, you'll see AI agents, you'll see AI staff, you'll see people managing. So I think the next innovation, you'll see carriers, agencies, companies hiring people that'll be AI managers or like AI content managers or whatever it might be, and managing the AI.
The next big innovation, it's kind of interesting. We are in insurance, so I'll use an insurance word somewhat, but if you think about agentic AI, I think it's a really cool innovation that's being applied in use cases and insurance and beyond. But if you think about insurance agents, they're really that extension of an insurance company to reach out into the market and create that unique customer experience. If you think about agentic AI in the same way, it's how are externally you're creating that unique personalized customer experience. And internally within an insurance company, it's providing additional really arms and virtual legs to help with workflow, for analytics, to really get processes done. So I'd say agentic AI, it's been a buzzword for about the last 6 months, but I really think it has the opportunity to transform insurance both internally with workflow and then externally with that customer experience and that distribution journey.
For me, I think the biggest thing that insurance needs today is more data inputs. Data is highly important for making the process much more streamlined, easier, much more effective at the end of the day. And so any kind of data insights you can get or you can glean, that is highly important.
I think the easy answer would be, artificial intelligence offers an opportunity for us to let people do what they're good at and not focus on administration. So that's maybe the easy answer. I would say the innovation opportunity is, as an industry, we can lead. We can lead and attract talent by the things that we do and the stories that we tell and the promises we keep. And that's what I would challenge the industry to focus on, is let's lead and get people to come into this industry that otherwise wouldn't.
I think that, just like I'm sure you guys have already heard, I think the main thing revolves around AI and how AI will impact us. I think there's positives and negatives to it. The upside is just streamlining some of the processes and just providing just quicker data points and gathering of data, compiling that data and then using it. I just think the main thing is that we have to stay actively involved with AI. You can't have AI making decisions for underwriting or for claims or the aspects outside of just data population and just being able to use it to streamline and more quickly process information.
I think we all know it's AI. AI is going to change our industry in a multitude of ways. When you talk about these situations where we work with client service teams that are abroad, we might start seeing those client service teams transition over to artificial intelligence in ways where they're, issuing our policies for us, taking care of endorsements for us. And then, even when it comes to aggregating data and things like that, certainly artificial intelligence is going to help us do our jobs better in a lot of ways.
The next bit of innovation, we've talked a lot about it in the last 2 days here at IBFutureFest, and that's AI and how to integrate AI so that we can upskill our own colleagues so that they're not doing mundane tasks, that they're actually interacting with clients and meeting the needs of what they need to have instead of doing paperwork behind a desk.
Yeah, broadly, I would say, it's probably what's on everyone's mind, AI. How do we incorporate it into the workflows, become more efficient? It's both interesting and scary at the same time. It could take over our jobs. I think specifically for us in insurance, it means we'll be able to spend more face time with our broker partners. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of talk about AI here, right? So I think we're seeing a lot of ways that it's a new tool, if you will.
but that it's going to be used and can really change how things are used. It doesn't necessarily replace bodies and seats, but it gives them other ways to look at things and will allow the development of other kinds of products and services. So I think that's kind of shifts, if you will, and like a business shift all the way, because all the companies that we work with are going to be doing that too. So that's going to kind of change how things are done and how things are looked at in the future, I think.
The next big innovation in insurance could be twofold, because on one hand, we have AI popping up everywhere. On the other hand, we kind of have a bit of an institutional industry where change can be slow to happen. But the reality is it is happening. Change is happening across the industry, especially in the E&S lines and property casualty side. And it's really an opportunity to be in the industry at the moment.
I think the key buzzword for that is everyone loves the term AI. I think the curiosity is what does that hold for the industry and where is that going to take us?